Ladies and gentlemen, look at this beautiful, hearty fall soup. This is a recipe that's filled with deliciousness, goodness, and more vegetables than you can count. You're going to love this one. Wait till you try it. Today I'm going to be making a fantastic tasting soup. Folks, this is a cream of potato, broccoli, and cheddar soup. Now there's a lot more ingredients in it than just that. And there is nutritional value here that's just off the hook. It's delicious. In fact, it's so good that once you have a bowl of this soup, you're going to want another one. I guarantee you. It tastes that good. This is one of my favorites. It's a hearty soup and it's perfect for the fall, great for in the winter, and for the holiday season. It's something that you can pull out really easy. When you're busy trying to do other things, this is a great meal item all by itself. Let's get in the kitchen and I want to show you all the ingredients. We're going to get busy making one of the best soups you're ever going to taste. Let's go. Folks, today our ingredients are what you see here. There's a lot of stuff going on. I've got potatoes, onion, carrot, cheddar cheese, broccoli. This is broth. Now you can use either a vegetable broth or a chicken broth for this. You choose for your soup, okay? I've got some mustard here, some white pepper. I've got some half and half. And down here we got some garlic and salt. And with this, we're going to make a really, really good soup. It's very basic ingredients, but when they're used right, put together right, cooked right, it equals absolute deliciousness. So folks, let's get busy. We're going to start by peeling this, and we are going to dice out everything. The cheese I'm going to shred, the carrots I'm going to shred, dice, and these are going to be diced and boiled, okay? So I have to make big dice out of that. There's some prep here that's got to get done before the final soup gets made, and that starts with boiling those potatoes. So let's get started peeling. Now folks, my carrots and potatoes are easy to take care of. I'm simply going to put these potatoes aside for a moment. The carrots, I want to remove this outer layer. I really don't like it that much, even though they're cleaned up real well, and that's edible. I just don't really want it in my soup. You do yours however you like. Nice thing about a simple vegetable peeler like this, it makes this job quick and easy. And the carrots are simple enough. Just take you a simple grater and shred these things, okay? Doesn't have to be a pretty job or anything fancy. Well, now that I've done with the carrot, get after my potatoes. Well, the potatoes are peeled. Now I've just got to get them diced. Now that's something I want to show you when it comes to handling your knife. Let's be safe about this. Potatoes, they want to roll around on you, so they can be dangerous, and now they're slick because we've peeled them. So what I want to do is I want to put it on one of the flat sides that it just normally lays on. Turn my fingers under and pull my blade back so I get about 3/4 inch to 1 inch wide cut. Boom, right there. So that's some of my cooked potatoes. Here, I'm going to do that again, and I do that to give myself a flat side for the thing to set on. See, it's nice and stable now. I can do this. Now these are going to be a little bit small on my dice size, but that doesn't really matter. There and there. I just have to remember to make all the rest about the same, okay? And that way the cook is as even as possible. Now folks, just like everything else that we're doing, we're going to prep the broccoli, and I need to cut that callus off the end. That dry, nasty callus we don't need. However, everything else is edible and it goes into this soup. Now what I want to do is I want to cut crosswise, slowly freeing up my broccoli. At the same time, allowing me to use every bit of the stem, or stems plural. And then at the same time, it separates the head of the broccoli at exactly the right location for you to dice this out. So what we're looking for in these pieces are little pieces like this. They'll cook down real nice. But all of this, which is my stem, I want to go ahead and dice it out. And it's as simple as take some of your pieces, get them stacked on each other, cut them across, and then cut them across again. And here we have some nice little 3/8 inch dice that are going to cook up beautifully in this soup. And it is so very healthy. So when it comes to these pieces, all we have to do is you shorten the stem and sometimes cut them in half like so, just depending on which one we're working on. Sometimes they'll come apart just like that. There we go. Broccoli is all cut up. Let's place that in a separate bowl. There we go. That's ready to go. We'll move on to the next item, which is our onion. Okay, it is now time to dice out the onion. Let me show you the very best way I know of dicing an onion. First, we start with holding the knife right. Pinch the blade, wrap your fingers around that handle. That keeps the blade from rolling on you accidentally the way it can do this way, all right? So, let's cut the onion from the root down to the stalk end, which I've already removed. And there we go, I've cut it in half. Next thing I want to do, if I cut this, so you'll know, if I make cuts like this, and then cuts like this, or cuts like this, and then cuts like this, I get these long pieces from the sides, and little square pieces from up here and from down here. So it's uneven, and I don't want uneven, I want very even dice, okay? So here's what I do to get a perfect dice on an onion. Bring your blade up. Always do this cutting away from you, never this way. If you cut this way, it's called the suicide cut. Never do that, okay? Always cut away. Put your fingers together and keep them together, right smack on top of that. As you cut into that onion, it's going to get real tight. When it does that, simply take the blade and twist it, a little like that. And go in a little deeper, twist each time. See there? Now, when I'm cutting my onion, I go this way and this way. The pieces off the side, instead of being long, they're going to be short and square. And it is because of that one cut. And that ain't hard to do, folks. So just go ahead and give it a shot. And you see how I use the root to hold it all intact? This is, believe it or not, a method which is commonly taught in almost every cooking school in the country, all right? Now, I can make beautiful, perfect, gorgeous dice that are all equal in size to each other, right there. Everything cooks even this way, and that's the whole idea, is you want even cooking, and this helps to ensure the best even cooking possible. And you get very little waste. So there you have it. There's your dicing lesson for the day. Watch me do it twice. Now folks, back here I have hot water on my potatoes. I'm going to turn that to high burn. And my front here, I'm going to put this on a medium flame. I'm going to put some cooking oil in here, and I am going to cover it and gently over a medium-low flame sweat these onions until they start turning translucent. Okay, this is just part of the steps. The potatoes we have to cook until they are fork tender. You push a fork into them, and the potato breaks apart easily. It's ready to process into mash. We have to turn these into mash, and we have to get these soft and kind of translucent before we can go on to cooking certain other things that will cook faster than the onion. Everything else, if you will notice, it's all laid out, it's measured out, it's shredded, diced, whatever. It's prepared so that you don't burn anything or mess anything up at the same time that you're trying to get something cooked. A little cooking oil down in this. There we go. And we'll let those onions sweat. There we have it. Okay, folks, it doesn't take that long. This is going to be, about 10, maybe 12 minutes to sweat to the right point. And then we add the carrots, the broccoli, the broth, and let it cook for a little while longer. Okay, my timer just went off. My onions that I am sweating are still fairly white. I'm going to give these about another 5 minutes. It's been 10 minutes now. And then we're going in with the other vegetables. Now folks, our onion has cooked until it's starting to caramelize a little and it's starting to look translucent. That was about 15 minutes of cooking. So now I'm going to take my broth and just pour it on in. It's time for the carrot to go in there. And I'm going to go ahead and get my broccoli in there. All I need to do now is to cover this and give this a nice cook. It's not going to take long. And I'm also going to mince up my garlic and put it down in here now. Now folks, let me show you something about mincing garlic. Once you've peeled your garlic and you have the scab removed from it, to keep it from rolling around on you while you're trying to cut it, go ahead and crush it. And that helps me to get everything under control. Now the technique I'm going to use today is I'm simply going to grab the knife by its handle like so. And this hand I'm going to tuck my thumb under and I want to keep it under down here. With my fingers right up on top of the knife here, okay? Now the motion I'm making is a simple up and down motion like so. And that's what I want to use to cut through the garlic. Now here's the trick about this. It can be sped up to cut rather quick. Now the next little trick I want to tell you about when it comes to mincing garlic like this is angling the blade. If you will take your blade and simply angle it, see, instead of making that cut straight up and down like this, take your blade and angle it a little bit. Not this much, I'm just showing you to turn it sideways a little, about like so. And then when you're mincing, you'll get a better cut. It was a little thing I noticed about when I was mincing some years back, that I got a better cut with the blade at a slight angle. So there we have it. Very simple mincing, as easy as it can get. So as you can see, it doesn't take long and you don't have to be super fast about it. And don't worry, in time, speed will come. Learn that technique, it's well worth knowing. Now, this garlic needs to go right down in the pot that I put all my veggies in. There we go, right there with the garlic. We're ready to let it simmer. My potatoes have been boiling for a while now, so I want to check them. Push my fork into them. Do they break open? Not well. Let me try this one. No, see, they're hanging on, so they're starting to get soft, but they're not soft enough to just bust apart on their own. These need a few more minutes of cooking. Folks, today I want to talk to you about the food mill. If you've never used one of these, simply go out and buy one. They're not expensive. You can get a food mill for as low as $20. I've seen good ones for as low as $30, really good ones. And so go ahead and get one. Now in the bottom of basically what's just a big funnel, you have these little plates which are sieves, these guys. These sieves give you all kinds of wonderful different foods. These are the medium and large type sieve, and this is what I like to use for mashed potatoes. This will give you a perfectly smooth mashed potato with zero lumps at all. This will give you a very smooth mashed potato, very light and fluffy, with these very, very, very tiny lumps, the tiniest lumps you've ever seen. Okay, so in other words, they have to be small enough to fit through that little bitty hole, right? So the thing of it is this gives you a very good quality mash, but at 1/10 of the time that this one takes. I can have it mashed in seconds with this. Now, for those of you that have used these and know about them, bear with me. I want to speak to those that have never used one of these. When it comes to putting one of these together, your paddle has a closed side and an open side, okay? And this up here, this thing is called the bail, and there's a spring underneath it. There's a hole in the middle that this peg sits into, and this clip and this clip, this and this attached to. There's one thing that you need to remember when putting it together. When you're going to attach the last side, make sure that the open side of this paddle is facing towards the side you're going to attach last. You don't want it to dent the plate, and this side over here will dent the plate if you push down too hard on it. Also, it makes it very hard to attach. Now, when it's in that position, there we go, it snaps right in there, usually. There we go. It's giving me trouble. Anyway, this is ready to go on the pot that I'm going to make soup in. Now here's the beautiful thing here. When my potatoes are finished cooking, to mash them, all I do is place this in the sink the same way I would a colander. The water pours through the bottom, the potatoes are left in the top. I simply take this and place it on the pan or the pot that I'm going to make my soup in and mill them into that pot. Usually takes about 30 to 45 seconds. All right, let's test our potatoes again to see if we've got that right consistency. Oh, looky there, it just broke open all by itself. Look at that. When they're doing that, they're ready to be processed. Don't cook them anymore. Now folks, I have my food meal put together. It's on my pot. All of the potatoes were ran through it over at the sink, and now they're just sitting on top of this pot ready to be turned into mash. So all I have to do is crank this paddle. Whoop, there, about half of them are done now. Let's get the rest of these kind of knocked down in there. Isn't that neat how fast that works? Well, you remember when I said it takes merely seconds to do mashed potatoes in a food mill? You've just seen it right there. Basically, all of the potatoes are, for the most part, milled through. I'm just getting the last little bits that I can because I don't want to waste anything. Whoop. Things are flying around the kitchen, and there it is. It's all finished. That's done. I'll have to scrape off the bottom. Anything that's left up here is actually small enough to be in there at this point. There we have it. I want you to notice how very easy and quick that was and what perfect product we get from this. This is a perfectly smooth mash. Look at that, how it just comes apart on me. So it's going to be the consistency we need. I have my mashed potatoes ready. This are vegetables. They've been cooking for 25 minutes. I'm going to pour the whole thing right down into my mash. And I have the makings of a very good soup here. It's beginning. It's going to be time to put in that half and half. I'm going to gently stir this in. Okay, that's all but about 1 cup. And as this cooks, it may take a little bit more, so we'll find out in due time. So that's all but 1 cup. Now, the next thing I'm going to do on this, before I go and getting my cheese in there, I want to go ahead and start adding some of my spices. So it's going to start with a little salt, and I'm going to put in about a teaspoon. And another thing, when it comes to these spices, white pepper and mustard, do them about 1 teaspoon at a time, okay? Because a tablespoon, which is what the recipe calls for, can be very, very pungent for some people, all right? And I want you to do it this way, where you start with just 1 of each. You taste that. This is a little more. That's about 1 1/2. That's okay. I'm just making sure there's no lumps. That's what I'm doing here. There we go. And that's white pepper and mustard. And I'm going to get this spoon out of here, and I'm going to go with a whisk. Returning my heat under the pan. And there's a lot of residual heat here, okay? Everything was hot to begin with. I'm going to put in a little of my cheese. We're just going to start melting this in. This is one hearty soup right here. Isn't that beautiful? The way that's coming out, I'm going to enjoy this a great deal. Now folks, so you know, I have a medium-low heat under this that I am slowly heating it with. Now, when I say test that soup, I mean exactly that. It's been about 5 minutes. I want to take a little of my soup, taste it, and see which of my spices I need to adjust. Okay. Mustard. It's another teaspoon. I got several lumps in my mustard this time, so I'm having to work them out. White pepper. I'm already getting a good flavor from it, so I don't want to go too heavy on it. It's going to be barely a teaspoon, if that. And again, I want to need to cook this for about 5 minutes or so with those spices in it. I got my cheese down in there, so you can see that nice color coming through on that. And I'm going to add a little more salt. About another teaspoon there. Give that a few minutes to cook. Folks, I want to show you a little secret when it comes to potatoes and cheese and things like that. When you do dishes like that, it never hurts to add something that bumps flavor. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Got a little MSG here. MSG isn't a bad thing. It's not something for you to be afraid of. It's something for you to use wisely. Just a little bit of MSG, maybe a half a teaspoon in there. Add that. And what that's going to do is that's going to wake up those flavors in a fantastic way, and it's going to make it more potatoey, more cheesy, and the broccoli will stand up better. The whole soup just kind of comes alive. So there you have it, one little secret right there. And this soup needs to cook, for about 10 to 15 minutes, just like this. Give it a few minutes, that way all the flavors really combine well. It comes up in temperature. Do not boil it. You don't want to turn this into cottage cheese. Okay, keep it low enough so it's just steaming lightly. All right. And when I'm doing a soup like this, and I don't want it to boil, I always do it with an open cover, stirring frequently like I'm doing now. And then once I'm finished with the heat, I'll pull out what I'm stirring with, put a lid on this, and it'll keep wonderfully. The ingredients quantities of what we've used today, it started with this right back here. This is our half and half, and that was a quart. I also started with a quart of broth. Now you get your choice on this one, whether it's vegetable broth or a chicken broth. Choose either one you want to go with. I used 10 ounces of broccoli, that's one good size head there, 10 ounces of carrot, 10 ounces of onion, 2.5 pounds of potatoes, a tablespoon of mustard, tablespoon of white pepper, 4 cloves of garlic, and salt to taste. Usually it's going to be around 2 to 3 tablespoons at least on that. Potatoes are salt thirsty. That is your recipe. Now let's take a look at this gorgeous soup. Well, our soup is fully prepared now. It's just time to dish it up and enjoy. I love a hearty soup like this, and this is a wonderful fall soup. It's rich, robust, hearty, delicious, nutritious. Doesn't get much better. There we go. Beautiful big bowl of soup. Just what I'm looking for. As you've seen, a gorgeous soup. I would love to turn it towards you, but I'm afraid I'm going to spill it if I do. That's so good, man. Guys, when you try this soup, you're going to be blown away at how rich, how full-bodied it is, how flat delicious it is. It is a real good fall soup. Enjoy this one. I'm going to be enjoying it certainly. If you would, please take a look in the comments below. Down in the description there, you're going to see some links. Take a look there. There's S.A. Trotter Arts, and that's satrotter.com. If you go there, that's my website. That's where I sell my services, my products, and very soon to be also the Texas Cooking Today shirts, recipes, and other products. So, folks, thank you very much for looking at that. Check out the rest of my channel, Texas Cooking Today. There are a lot of recipes there, and it's all delicious food. Thank you very much. Enjoy your soup, and folks, have a good day, okay? Oh, come with me.